We are kicking off the June series with Olivier Njamfa, and we look forward to seeing you every Thursday with a fantastic lineup all through this month of June. So maybe I should just start by introducing you, Olivier, and then we can kick off with the interview. First of all, you are originally from Cameroon.
That's correct.
Based in Paris. You are the founder of a fantastic company called Eptica, which you have had for 18 years. It's in the digital realm. You are also involved in many activities. You are the founder of Seed for Soft. It's a business angel activity for young startups. You are involved in charitywater.org. And you are also, you were on the cover of Forbes Afrique magazine in 2012.
Yeah, many years ago.
Many years ago. You are equally a founder of AFDEL, which became Tech in France, for which you're a member of the board and chair. You have been chair of the investment commission for 10 years. So, Olivier, you're a star.
Ready?
To me, you're a rock star. One thing I need to add before I start questioning you is that your motto is that the journey counts as much as the objective.
Yes, it is.
You're going to tell us more about that. So my first question to you is the one I ask all our guests. What makes you an international public speaker? And where do you find the confidence to stand there and speak? And what makes people listen to you?
Okay, so hello everyone. So thank you, Nadia, for having me. It's really a great pleasure to be here. And I want to take the opportunity to congratulate you and Gilles for putting together this kind of discussion. Thanks again. Coming down to me, really, I don't think I'm a star, to be honest. I really think that I can picture myself as an international person. As you said, I was born in Cameroon. I grew up in Paris. I went to school in Paris, into university. I spent many years in the UK. I've been doing business all over the globe. So I can say that I am international by design.
Yes.
And when we come down to what makes me confident talking here, more than talking about me, really I think it's more about my experience. I've learned a lot, I've done a lot, so I'm happy to share. And if I'm here today, it's about talking about what I've learned. And most of the time also, I think when you share, you learn at the same time. So I quite enjoy talking and sharing what I've learned.
Thank you, Olivier. So talking about sharing, could you kindly share with us any anecdotes that you have been through while building Eptica? What is Eptica?
Yes, just to put it in perspective, Eptica is a software company that I founded in 2001. The vision at that time was to think that the customer will interact with companies with a new channel. At that time, when you want to talk to any company, it was only the phone. Then my vision was internet going to change the game, and more and more people going to use internet. And through internet, the first channel that I thought about was email. So we built the very strong email management solution, equipping big companies to interact with individuals. That was very successful. Down the road, I raised money 3 times. This is very interesting experience going to raise money. I also went in international because we started in France. Then I moved over to the UK and then to Asia and to the US. Also, I acquired a company because sometimes you have to acquire a company to be bigger. And ultimately, at the end, I sold the company last October. So this is the journey of Eptica, and this is what I've been doing for the last 20 years.
Wow.
So now, if I want to share a specific anecdote, just to talk to entrepreneur, sometimes you will have to do things that you believe you couldn't do. You're going to find in your guts some energy to do something. And my example is entering the financial sector. The financial industry are very conservative. When you want to sell something to them, it's very tough. When a startup, small companies just come and want to sell to the first bank in France or anywhere, you just cannot do it. It's going to be difficult. So when I wanted to do it, I managed to know who was the decision maker for customer service. Tried to call him many times. No way he would pick up the phone. Then I managed to know that the guy was going to the US to an exhibition to take an award. I found the flight. I found the hotel. I went there, I meet him there. I managed to pitch and talk to him and even fly back with him. And a few months later, he bought my solution.
Wow.
And it was the leading bank in France. So I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to penetrate that industry and I sell to them. I will say to entrepreneur, if you want to be a leader, you have to sell to leader. And down the road, the top 5 banks in France were using my solution. That's the anecdote.
Wow, impressive. Talk about resilience there.
Yeah.
You know, you really went for it.
Yeah.
You want to share another? I guess everybody's listening to you intensely. So if you have another episode to share, maybe.
Well, I mean, we talk more about we talk about resilience. That make me think that crisis is never an issue. When we created the company in 2001, it was during the internet bubble. So at that time, I said to myself, I have 3 children. You're not going to start a company in a crisis, putting your money in it. But the vision was so strong that I decided to do it anyway. And the crisis was in the DNA of the company to start. Then down the road, we saw another crisis in 2008, 10. We managed to come over it. And anytime we say to ourselves, if you survive during crisis, you can survive anytime.
Yeah.
And guess what? Crisis coming from outside is something certainly difficult, but crisis coming internally, like every company has regular crisis, you have to be prepared and think that the crisis is an opportunity to invent, to change, to move forward.
Crisis as an opportunity to invent, to change, and to move forward. Wow, that's a great philosophy. That's a great philosophy. So how does a digital company like yours manage to transform, innovate, and stay on top of the market? Is it a hit or miss challenge?
Well, what I will say, we all fail in innovation. Every single company fail one day to innovate. You cannot stay on the top all the time. Even Google, Facebook, all those guys end up buying companies to stay on the top. And we did fail. Eptica at my time. I'm going to give you the example. In 2010, I saw coming a new channel, which is a chat channel, because email was there. And more individuals like you and me willing to chat with company for customer service. But you have to build the technology. So I make a lot of meetings internally, saying that chat will be the new channel, let's work on it, let's stay on the top of the market. But I failed. The company didn't pick it up. And what happened? Competitors just enter the market with a very strong chat solution. And they started eating our lunch, going to our customers. And we were the losers. And guess what? This is not a crisis. What I've said that time, okay, we are losing this battle, just forget it and think about the next battle. And the next battle was, artificial intelligence. So we were working, I work on that, and ultimately we bought a company in 2012 who has some AI capabilities for customer service. And by 2014, we were back to the game and even ahead of the market. So what I will say, innovation, yes, you have to innovate, but don't worry, you will miss innovation. But if you miss it, let go this battle and prepare the next battle.
So always be one step ahead.
Yes, and be prepared. Yes, and if I was a telco company today and you say 5G, you are dead. It doesn't matter. I'm going to start working on 6G.
Right.
I'll be back, you know? So.
Right. So always be ahead of the game. And how do you keep your team on top of the innovation game day in, day out? Because if you have to be ahead of the game, it can't be just you, the leader. It has to be the team as well.
Of course, is a team, because you have to motivate the team and make sure that they keep innovating, because this is innovating is changing all the time. Human beings, sometimes when you are successful, you start relaxing and you start saying, okay, I'm on top, why should I change? But you have to change, otherwise you're just going to die. I'm going to say something probably tough, but this is the reality. If you have to keep a team always innovating, you have to let go people who don't want to innovate. Sometimes it's not easy. You have been working with people you like, people you sometimes your friend, but they don't want to fight anymore. You have to let them go. If you enter a meeting with 10 people and 2 people do not buy innovation, they're going to poison the group. And little by little, you won't be progressing. So let them go. And sometimes you're doing good things because someone not willing to innovate with you will innovate somewhere else. So this is what I will say. Build a team, make sure they always the future, because when you have, let's say, your stronger leader, you congratulate him because he's very good at what he's doing. But now the market have changed. You want him to change. Sometimes he won't change because he say, look, I was the future, but you have to stay the future. So be prepared, I would say, to let people go when they don't want to innovate, and focus to those who stay, who want to take the challenge.
So keep the people who want to innovate, let the others go, and it's actually a service that you render to them because they might be happier somewhere else.
Exactly, and for the company too. But sometimes it's tough, huh? It's sometimes very tough because sometimes you have to let go your partner, people you like. But I really recommend to entrepreneur just to do it. Even it's painful, because it's doing good service to everyone.
That's an excellent advice. Excellent. Wow, lots of insight we're getting here. It's amazing. So, Olivier, provided you are a successful, you've been successful at creating and maintaining a very innovative company and you're leader on your market, how do you take it to the next level? How do you go international? Are there any secrets that we need to adopt, any pitfalls we need to avoid?
Well, based on my experience, first, if you take the French market, the software French market, only 5% of the companies will manage to go international successfully. You say, how come? Because for many years, many companies are going international, and there's something very counterintuitive that I've learned based on my experience. When you go international, you have a mother company, you have a base, successful, you are a leader in your market, you have strong leaders in there, and you say, now let's go to another country. Most of the time, you may fail because you're not preparing the mother company to change. You will think you need to do the same thing somewhere else, which is not true. So if we decided to go to the UK and then to Asia, and I realized that the most difficult thing to do is to change the mother company, not where you're going. We tend to say, hey, we have to learn the Japanese market. We have to learn the Australian market. And we put all our energy on it, and we forget the change that you have to apply to your base. So most of the failures coming from that, when you come down to people again, your top manager of support is doing very great to your mother company, is fantastic, and then you say now you have to help supporting the new country. He may have a language barrier, he may not willing to do it, and then you say I failed international because we didn't know how to do in the UK or in Japan. No, you failed because you didn't prepare your base. And for the CEO, you have to make sure that everyone buys this international strategy, not just saying it's good to be international, we're going to be bigger and so on. Yes, but what is going to change for me as an employer and an employee in France? So you have to sell it and make sure that your base is buying into this strategy that gives you more chance to be successful internationally. That's what I've learned. And of course, you have to make sure people are going to know how you sell in Japan, how you sell in the US, how you sell in Italy. But the base.
This is a very deep insight because most people want to go international. And of course, when you go international, you focus on the new market. That's what most people do because we all think this is what we have to do.
But
what you're saying is we also have to focus on the home market because the transformation has to start there.
Yep.
Internationalization has to start there.
Yep. In Eptica, we have been giving English lesson every lunchtime to everyone, even those people not involved in international, just to transform the company and make people realizing that we're going to change. So when you go international, your problem may come from where you're coming from, not where you're going to.
Right. Because actually in the new market, you can, you will find your way.
Yeah.
But you have to bring everybody else along.
Correct.
Interesting. Very interesting. Wow, Olivier, you are spoiling us with amazing insight here. I'm just really loving it.
There are a lot of counterintuitive things, Just to come back again on that example, when you are trying to sell for a tender, you receive a tender, you have to answer it and put everything in it. So that's very specific country by country. But what you've learned in your mother company, you have to adapt it for international. So
right.
If someone who knows to do it is not prepared to do it, it's going to be very difficult. And what I've seen when we started Eptica going international, we were very successful in France. We were profitable. And you hear in the corridor, it's because of English people. They don't know how to sell it. Now we're losing money because of the English and so on. You see? That meaning you have to go back and prepare again. Because this is where you're going to fail. This is where you may fail. But that will be my advice for entrepreneurs that want to jump and go international.
Can I ask you, we've been talking about Eptica and you told us about this beautiful journey of yours. How many people, how large was the team at Eptica?
The team was 100 people when we get when we were over in Asia and Europe and the US.
100.
Yeah.
All like engineers and innovative people.
Yeah, in software we have a lot of engineers, people coding. We also have some salespeople because selling technology like software is quite difficult because it's immaterial. You're not selling something hard. You have to explain the benefits. You have to make the customer realize the benefits without something that is not going to touch with your hands. You have a lot of different skills: sales, pre-sales, consulting, developers, develops. So this is quite a complex industry, by the way, that people tend to ignore. And this is a software business.
Wow.
That I like because I'm quite fond in technology, as you know.
Although you are initially a sales specialist.
Yes, actually, I'm sales. I picture myself as a salesperson. I went to a business school. I haven't made any code in my life, but I like the technology has the means to transfer productivity. When I went out of school, I was starting selling accounting software because I say a piece of technology, like what we're doing. This is technology. I can share my experience with many people around the globe. So I like this. So you don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to be knowing how to code. You need to think about the product. You need to think about the usage, what we're going to do with it. And I quite like that because with a piece of technology, you can really transform a company, productivity. You can even transform the way people are living. And I'm just saying something that everyone knows today. Technology is everywhere. Yes. But in 1987, when I was starting working, it was not that obvious.
No.
So I'm quite passionate in technology, and there's still a lot to do. Every day you can innovate and find new things that technology can impact.
Amazing. So Olivier, you sold Epica last year at the end of 2019, but you haven't totally left the company.
No, because I quite like what I'm doing. So I sold the company after 18 years. That was a very interesting journey that comes back to my motto, because you can sell a company which is successful many times. But I consider that the journey was as important as the target. So eventually I have to sell it. So I sell the company. I was happy to do it in October. So it's a little less pressure on me because I sold it just before the crisis coming. But even though I will have managed it, doesn't matter, but it was also good luck. But I stay in the company because I sold it to a Canadian listed company named Njamfa. It's a 2000 company, 3 billion capitalization on the Toronto market, with a range of fantastic products for contact centers, for video conversation. So I'm now the MD for France and making the company grow with new products that angels brought to us. So I'm happy, keep going. I'm selling technology. I'm learning, keep learning.
You're learning new adventures, more exciting things happening. This is awesome. So coming back to the fact that you are a successful African, I think it's important that that we share African stories, that African and Afro-descending successes. Today, the Afro culture still lies in secrecy. What do you think we should do to spread the good news?
Well, that's a tough question. So I think that as far as I'm concerned, I'm really happy to share my experience, to participate in any forum where I just can answer questions and told what I've learned. So I will be very happy on that. And in technology, sometimes people think that it's not secrecy in technology, because most of the time you share with your competitors what you have, because you need, like open source, you put everything and you share, and then you go and see if you are going to be strong on the market to sell it. So I think we can apply it, just come. So anytime, if you invite me or any one of the audience invite me to come and share my experience, I will be more than happy to do it.
That's awesome. We need those stories. We need people to know what is happening in Africa, in the diaspora, people from Afro-descending origin. We need to hear those success stories. We need the role models. We need to hear their tips so that we keep growing, so that also the rest of the world hears about us, because otherwise we have these beautiful stories like yours and they stay very discreet. So, I think
I'm ready, please.
You're in it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And so to finish off, Olivier, we're coming back to public speaking. What tips would you like to give on public speaking or entrepreneurship? Because obviously you're a very, very strong and very successful entrepreneur. What tips would you like to give our audience?
If there is one tip I will give to our audience that applies to me, I don't know if it can apply to everyone, but for me, when I'm going public speeches, so I've been doing quite some time, I like having an eye contact with the audience. I like seeing the audience in the eye. That gives me more strength, more energy to deliver what I have to deliver. And what I do sometimes, so I pick up one person in the audience that's going to be my relation during the speech. I keep the eye contact with that person, take this energy and spread it to the rest of the audience, and keep doing it during all my speech. And it quite works because you are really with the people, and you're not somewhere there just giving lecture. You are relating to the group. And I found something very funny, because doing so, the person with whom you have been relating during your speech tend to ask the first question. Or if the person is shy, he's going to come at the end and shake your hands, because you have been with that person for all the speech. So this is my tips. It can work for some other people. It works quite well for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to add?
No, my pleasure. If you have any question, I will be happy to answer. And
yes, I have two questions. The first one is, how would you implement your key takeaways in a COVID situation?
in COVID today?
Yes.
Well, I think this is a crisis, and I believe that I'm living it with my company today. What I've been doing, first calling one by one every single individual in my company to take news, to know if everything is fine. And I'm always talking about the future. I'm talking about 2021. You know, the leader to show the future. Because if we are stuck and talking only about COVID-19, that's fine, we have to be careful, but what about 2021? So I'm explaining to people what's come next, and this is how you can apply the way to tackle a crisis by looking ahead. We will come out of the crisis.
Awesome. Someone also asked, do you mentor African entrepreneurs?
Not yet. Not yet, to be honest. Mentorship, I was very lucky. I was mentored during the last 20 years. So the president of the board of my company was my mentor. That gave me a lot. And then to be a mentor, you have really to take time. You cannot mentor so many people. But I think that time will come, because it's really a relationship with two people. Two people. Yes, that will give me some ideas. I will be happy to find to mentor someone, probably down the road.
Okay, this is something we'll have to take offline. I think, if there are any other questions, it's now. 3 takeaways. Any 3 takeaways for the public?
For the public, so I will say to the public, try to think most of the time are counterintuitive. Don't rush on the common solution. Try to think differently. As I told you, for international, think about your base. For the crisis, take it as an opportunity. And you say that, oh, I'm not going to let someone go because I like it. No, you have to let someone go because it's better for everyone. So I will say a lot of good decisions are counterintuitive. And don't be afraid to look it differently than the common ground. This is how you're going to beat your competition.
Wow. That is a big learn to take away. Most good decisions are counterintuitive.
Yes, and you say you can link it with sport. When you go and do sport, high level sport, it's never intuitive. If you play golf, if I give you the stick, you're going to take it the wrong way. When you take it, you playing a professional, it's nothing to do with what you will be doing. So that most of the time is that way. You have to think differently and find the best way, and don't do it as it's just natural. Sometimes we say think out of the box. Sometimes I would just say it's counterintuitive, and search ideas that way, and then you will find a strong solution that will last.
So that's the way to rise above the crowd.
Yeah.
Because the crowd would do what everybody else does.
Yeah. If you want to stand out, you have to think differently, and don't be afraid of it, because sometimes it's not easy, but the funny thing, when you make a breakthrough by finding something totally different, it makes your life much easier.
Of course. Of course. Well, Olivier, this is awesome. Before we close on this interview, allow me to just announce our next speaker on Thursday next week. Her name is Karen Williams. She is a branding specialist. She is an actor. She is a model. She is in the fashion industry. And we're going to have a very, very interesting, yet another one. You see,
I will be there.
every week we promise you a very interesting one, and you know that it's going to be interesting. I'm sure you all agree that today we had an amazing talk, absolutely amazing talk, full of insight, very deep, with our dear friend Olivier Njamfa. Olivier, thank you a
Thank you
million
very much.
times.
I enjoy the time. Thanks very much.
Thank you
We'll
so
connect
much.
next week.
I loved it. I think everybody loved it. And we're very grateful. And we look forward to having you again sometime on this forum. And for everyone who was with us today, thank you so much for joining every week. And we look forward to seeing you next week again with Karen Williams. Another interview not to be missed. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of your day or your week.
Thank you, Nadia. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Cheers.
Get the back to get paid.